In this video, we'll go over multiple alternative conditional statements. The problem is written here. Write a program that receives a numeric grade between 0 and 100, then displays an equivalent letter grade. And the assumption is that a grade between 90 and 100 is translated into an A, a grade of 80 to 90 is translated to B, and so forth. To start the program, we will declare a double type variable, let's call it grade, and then we will prompt the user to enter a grade, right? And we will read that grade cin into variable grade. Now we will start the multiple alternative conditional statement. Here it is. If the grade that we just read is greater than or equal to 90, then clearly student has an A. And we'll give the message cout, you have an A, right? And the next alternative, this is how we write it, else if, and then the condition. Else if the grade is greater than or equal to 80, right? From 90, now we check to see whether the grade is greater than 80. And if that's the case, if the condition is true, then student has received a grade of B. So we're going to copy and paste the message right here, and the student has a B. The next condition to check, it's another, here's the third alternative. Else if grade is greater than or equal to 70. Similarly, if that's true, then the following statement will be executed. The block immediately following it will be executed. The student has a C. And we keep continuing this. Just remove this one. And here is another else if grade is greater than or equal to 60. This indicates that student has a D. So I'm going to paste the same message, just change it. You have a D. And now comes the final alternative, final clause. For that, I'll just write else, not else if, just else, right? And the condition here would be, there's no condition actually, the final clause will be the message cout, you have failed this class, right? So let me just finish up this program, and then I'll go over it a bit. Here we need system pause, and then return 0. We should be okay right here. So let me just go over this program a bit. So we've read the grade, right? Now multiple alternative conditional statement starts in line 11. When you basically design a multiple alternative conditional statement, you have to basically consider the order in which the conditions appear, right? And only one of the alternatives will be executed, right? And the alternatives should be non-overlapping. Again, keep in mind, only one alternative will be executed. They should be non-overlapping, and the order in which they appear is important. So in this particular case, you read the grade, and then the first alternative or condition that's checked is to see whether grade is greater than or equal to 90. If that's the case, if this is true, then you will give the message you have a grade of A, and then all other alternatives will be skipped, and then you reach the end, right? And if this condition fails, if grade greater than or equal to 90 fails, what does that mean? That means that grade is strictly less than 90. So you move to the next condition, right? Then you check is grade greater than or equal to 80. Once you reach line 15, you're assured that the grade is less than 90. So by checking to see whether the grade is greater than 80, then you're basically testing to see whether the grade is greater than or equal to 80 and less than 90. If that's the case, a B is awarded. If grade greater than or equal to 80, this condition is failed, then that means that the grade must be less than 80. So you go to the next line, next condition, check to see whether the grade is greater than 70. If so, you give the grade C, right? Similarly, line 23 checks to see whether the grade is greater than or equal to 60, right? And if this fails, that means that grade is less than 60. And if that's the case, the final else clause will be student has failed the class. So when we try this program, let me just make sure that the project is selected. We'll debug this program, build it, compile it, and then the console will appear. Enter a grade, and let's say we'll enter the grade of 72. If I do that, certainly the first condition fails, the second condition fails, and then the third condition will kick in, right? So if we do that, then it says you have a grade of C. I'll run it one more time, and let's enter a grade of 45. The class student has failed, and finally one last one, grade of, let's say, 90. You have an A.